My name is Mick. I'm a head and neck cancer, not so much a survivor but more of a thriver as well. And I was in hospital for up to about 90 days. Treatment I had was radiation and chemotherapy. You had to get yourself in the right headspace to accept what was happening to you and then feel the effects of that afterwards, which were pretty major after about the second or third week. I came from a system where I used to work on like 4-year Olympic cycles, where everything was counted to the second and to the minute. You know, I got rid of that whole program and just went into a really simple 10-minute program where I was just doing the best I could with what I had at the time. And instead of, looking at yourself and going, gosh, I used to be able to do this, that's all the past. So right now I'm standing. I have an option. I can either reward myself or not reward myself what I'm doing here right now. So why not reward yourself? You're doing a great job that you're standing. You're doing a great job you took 3 steps. You're doing a great job that you're on your hands and knees and you're crawling. You're doing a great job that you're breathing. You're doing a great job that you're just here.
When we discuss the main causes of fatigue, there are a number of factors and reasons. Firstly, your medical situation. With your body not being well, it can go through things such as infections and becoming anemic. Often people find that the treatment they're on makes them unwell and consequently quite tired. Additionally, repeated cycles of treatment are hard on the body and fatigue can build up over time.
Even though you're lying in bed, there's a lot of people coming to see you, how you're progressing with the treatment that's happening, some friends as well. That's all quite energy demanding. You're not running on full capacity. Just to have someone come and speak to you for 4 or 5 minutes is actually quite draining.
Another cause of fatigue is mood. Feeling depressed, sad or anxious is not uncommon in people with cancer. A person going through cancer treatment has complex reasons impacting on mood. A cancer diagnosis itself is incredibly stressful. It's also stressful to be unwell and have to try to keep going to treatment while keeping your life afloat.
You're just completely feeling so utterly flat and exhausted, not just physically but mentally, emotionally. I mean, a lot of people look at fatigue and just think, oh, it's just the physical thing, but it covers many other aspects as well. You're talking to a person that was pretty well not able to walk more than 10 paces. So to actually put your hand up and keep your hand up and go, look, I still need support when I leave this hospital environment. From your loved ones, from the counsellor, from people that are washing your clothes, to all those things that you used to be able to do that you're not just quite able to do just yet is pretty challenging.
The most common challenge people with cancer face when trying to manage fatigue is trying to lead a regular active life as they did before they became unwell and started treatment. Often people expect too much of themselves. They beat themselves up, they feel guilty or frustrated when they find they can't manage their usual routine. People also find it's hard to ask for help. Some people might feel like they're being lazy or that they're a burden on other people.
My background has actually been in supporting. As an employment, that's what I used to do for a living. I would support people to win gold medals. That was my job. So the table was now turned, where it was a little bit different for me to go, well, hang on now, I've actually got to get support. Psychologically, there was a few issues there at the start, but once I had surrendered and just allowed everything to happen, it made things a hell of a lot more easier on not just my front, but also the people that came to me as well.
It sometimes helps to think about the amount of energy you have as being a set volume contained in a bowl. You only have that amount of energy and you must decide how you need and wish to spend it. Some days your bowl will have more energy and some days it will have less. When managing your fatigue, it's often helpful to keep in mind the 4 Ps. Prioritise. Think about the important tasks you need and want to get done that day and across the week.
It was just a matter of just simplifying everything and in an unselfish way, really putting myself first.
You want to plan ahead. At the start of the day or the night before, consider your priorities and how you will achieve these with the energy you have. If you know that during your treatment cycle, your fatigue is at its worst between days 10 and 20, stockpile nourishing meals in the freezer. You can also order groceries online and consider buying pre-cut meat and vegetables. You can also use simple recipes with easy-to-use ingredients like our pumpkin lentil soup recipe. Pace these tasks through your day. Do your more tiring tasks when you have the most energy and take regular rest breaks. Also, cut yourself some slack if you find you simply don't have the energy to do everything that you had planned.
Post-hospital was a time of not branding anything, good or bad. It just was an experience. You're completely at ground zero and you have this incredible opportunity to rebuild yourself. It was really, really important not to put any pressures of oneself of, oh, well, I used to be able to do that and I can't do that now. Well, that's a statement from the past, talking about the future, where like right now, I'm able to do what I'm really doing, and how good's that?
And finally, think about your posture. Try making things as easy as possible for yourself. For example, sitting down to do tasks uses less energy than standing. Placing commonly used items on the bench is good, because repeatedly bending and reaching overhead to retrieve items will increase fatigue. You should also consider your environment. Adaptive aids can sometimes assist with conserving energy and managing fatigue. Some aids available are a kitchen stool, a Traymobile, an electric can opener, and a good knife to make things easier. Strategies to optimize energy intake are discussed in our loss of appetite video. However, if you or your loved one is fatiguing during a meal, it may indicate that you need to change your routine to include eating as a priority task. There are strategies to assist with fatigue during meal times that relate to the type of food consumed, and this is where we refer onto our dietitian colleagues for advice on texture modification.
Nutritionally, it was wholesome foods, and I'm not saying like big chunky foods, but a lot of some great fruit and some great vegetables that were coming in that were blended up or juiced up, so I could actually just get those nutrients into my body. My throat was still quite sore, but to allow that substance to actually slide into my throat and go into my body was actually quite liberating. Spiritually and emotionally, a lot of meditation, a lot of yoga, a lot of just grounding situations where you were completely at peace with yourself and you were happy just to sit out in the sun for 10 minutes and be grateful for what was happening to you then and there. And from the treatment, I was allowed to come out of the hospital. I arrived here at my friend's house, and it was here where I actually stayed for about a year. I was coming from about a 75 kilo chassis to a 49 kilo human being. But most nights we would sit around the table in the living room there and talk about trips. I just saw how healthy and how liberating, a trip would really be. And that's where the seed was sort of planted. Everyone that travels usually in a little bit of a different headspace. They're always usually pretty happy and healthy, and I thought, this is where I want to be. I jumped in this little 68 Volkswagen Beetle, nicknamed the Rocket, and drove it around Australia. It took about 16 months, and I couldn't drive all day. I could only drive an hour or two a day. I'd have to pull off the road and sleep and stop wherever. No timelines, just a trip of recovery and discovery. It was the whole journey. The book was set up to actually raise money for post-cancer support. We're talking about simplicity here. A basic car that did no more than 70 Ks, every photo on an iPhone, a two-man tent and a backpack. That's how simple life was. And apart from just traveling Australia mixed way, I'm just living life mixed way, which is just living the dream. Yeah.